and we're like, it is Marketing Show episode 20 something, and here we are. Oh, with 30, I'll.
No, I'm guessing. Right.
Yeah, and of course the confusing thing is now is that, like, gosh, it was this whole confusion about whether we start it through the Agile Ventures YouTube account or we start it through the site. It would actually be in some ways highly preferable if the site could start everything automatically through the Agile Ventures account. Anyway, it's gosh, complicated things. So let's do that thing that we do at the beginning, which is where we work out what it is we can talk about and what's on people's minds. I guess what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to put a thing at the top to sort of review previous action items. But let's get the new action items out, or new things out. So review action items from last time is the thing we always do. Federico, you actually posted a little list of things that were on your mind into Slack, did you not?
Right.
And so I can.
You can copy and paste
them over. Yeah, that sounds like a sensible thing to do. Let's go do that. Yes. Marufa, did you have some things on your mind that you would like to cover in the meeting?
Just the newsletter.
Yes.
Put that out.
Excellent. Yes. Okay. That's okay. Marufa is just newsletter. Okay, and then there's me, and I kind of not quite as organized as Federico, but I have a few notes in the channel from things that were coming up about what premium members were suggesting. We got, I guess there's also your thing about updating pages in there, Federico. And then another one here, which is right. That was so there. And Matt mentioned the idea of a fundraiser. I mean, I just don't have a bandwidth for that at the moment. Matt is talking to CA tomorrow about us. And did that remind me of some other thing? I mean, I guess the other thing we've got the new intern starting essentially. I guess other things will come to me. I mean, I think there's a podcast and so on. But yeah. Okay. So I guess in terms of reviewing previous action items, let's just have a look back at there. So I did respond to the this is the paper for the new intern and do the in-seat paperwork. So that's continuing to move on. I failed to get a review of the various things done. Other people have had input, but maybe I will need to have more. Federico has got the first podcast out, which is just huge. I guess there's also like other distribution channels is another thing to be thinking about. Like, does it show up on iTunes or what have you? And I guess, is this the fastest way we can go? I sort of wonder if like maybe I or we should be using Trello more consistently, but I wonder if we just scrub. Are you guys got any sense of other previous action items that we maybe didn't get to or are hanging in the wind? And
yes.
Yes, go on.
The startup page. Well, I done it on one that I don't know what the link is, but I did the startup page and Lara was meant to do the table and then we were supposed to do it on the actual website, so that never got completed.
Right. Yeah. That's right. The getting started page. Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure she will do it next week whenever she.
Yeah. Lara will be back. I've got like there's we increased the size of the font. I was supposed to be updating loads of pages. I just haven't done it. Federico got this one of listening to other podcasts and suggesting me as a guest.
Nope. I totally forgot.
No worries. But
But I noticed you did provide the link for one of your blogs where you
listed all the different podcasts. Yes.
Right. So I'll look at that.
Yeah. And then this is and it's no like the failing of doing things like there's this thing of like I totally failed to get loads of actions done. It's but that's what part of the process I think is of just like sort of there's no way we can get everything done, and we don't want to be too much sticklers for saying like things have to be done. It's more like remembering what we have talked about before, so we don't accidentally rehash it. So I mean, I could go back to just looking other older ones. No, I think that's certainly enough for today. Anyway, yeah. So, well, maybe should we start with Marufa with the newsletter? I mean, you're just waiting for input that will allow you to make it go out, I guess. Is that right?
So I added one more article I did this morning, and I put it on Elastic Mail, all of it. So
Right.
I'm waiting for someone to just read it and put it out, because unfortunately that is my fault, but it's like the end of April, so we really need to push it out like today, tomorrow.
Sure.
Because and hopefully, and I'm gonna next month's one, if I do it or the new intern, whoever does it, we will have to start like end of the month is not acceptable.
Yeah. No,
So I'm so sorry about this one.
No.
I think
Yes.
yeah, I think that's all that needs to be done.
Yeah. So, which?
It's really hard to tell which one it is.
Yes.
I think it's the first one.
This one.
Yeah, I think it's this one or the last one. It has to be one of them. Yes, this one.
Yes. Okay. Right. So yeah, this is the thing. We're in there, and the first podcast.
And again,
wonderful.
yeah.
Yes.
And I put the link of, and I don't know if it's the right one. So for that article, I was missing information such as the first book that you reviewed, the author's name, and the link to the book if someone wants to read it, because actually on the podcast said that it's accessible. So I thought maybe we should have the link to that. And also I did put the link to the podcast itself as a form of outlet for people to get access to it. So,
Totally.
and I don't know how to change the font on the Elastic Mail, so that's why it's really small. Like I try, but I just mess it up.
Okay. Now, Federico, you've got editing newsletter in your list of things. Did you manage to have a look at it? What related item were you going to raise here?
Basically, just to talk about the newsletter, and that I would volunteer to edit it, if it was close to done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure thing. Yeah. So I can. Yeah, and I. So yes. So I think maybe if we do that, Federico, if you take a first pass, and then I can take a subsequent one. In terms of the things that you were just asking about there, Marufa, this is the URL of the textbook that we were talking about in the first podcast. This is the name of the authors. Let's see. So I guess the issues that we've got. So here are needs info for podcast. So that's the two things that you would need there.
Yeah, it just needs to be literally copied and paste, and then someone can just do it.
Yeah. Well, I'll paste this full notes in the Slack at the end, and then we'll have that. But so, go on, Federico.
No, I was just going to say that I can add the links. It's easy.
We've got them. So right, there's sorting out the fonts. It needs to be done. I'm holding myself off and like not doing things. I'm listing things of things, and then we can work out who doesn't. Yes, and this is a lovely icon for the NHS there. This icon, I would just say this is specific to the clinical commissioning group of Central London, which it's I don't know if we like as I have learned, and I only learned this recently, like London itself is split up into these different sections. Or there's the Central London Clinical Commissioning Groups. There's the Southwest London Clinical Commissioning Groups. There's, do you know what I mean? So like this. Go on.
Can I just say, when I was looking for that image, I did see most of them have this slogan with each region's name.
Right.
So I specifically found one which didn't have London anything. So that the only reason I have two images in there is because Federico in our first newsletter said that maybe we should have more images. That's the only reason I added two, but you can take it out.
And to have to, I'm just coming with, from all my interactions with the NHS, this might suggest that we're doing something specifically with the Central London group.
Oh, okay.
Actually, we're working London-wide with Healthy London Partnership. So, the alternate, so the people that we're actually working with, and they're part of the NHS and they're funded by the different clinical, is this Healthy London Partnership. So, if you wanted to use like the logo here, that would be a more accurate representation of who we are working with.
Okay.
So,
I can swap those out if you want.
yeah, cool. I'll just add that in there. Okay. Yes, and then on that note, if we had an icon then to go with the podcast, that would be, no icon. Sorry, I mean, if we're having images for these ones, it'd be nice to have images for the last one.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know what images.
No, well, you can probably extract this is the book. You can probably include the image of the book with the stuff in the Apple.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But that's with
I can do that, Marissa.
Yeah, with this
Thank
link. Yeah, when I say you, I mean the royal you of us, rather than like saying, Marufa, that you must do anything. You've done lots of work. So. Okay, yes. So then, are we in general agreement that if we've add image, like this is the set of things that needs to be addressed for the newsletter, and then it will be ready to go out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
And I can do it. Yeah, I can take care of.
Okay, if you could take a final, let me just, after you've done that, Federico, if I can just take a final read before
Yes,
it
of
goes out,
course.
just I think particularly the NHS one, just in case there's something that accidentally implies the wrong thing, because they get sensitive about these things.
I didn't
Yeah.
mention the partnership, so maybe add that. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's good. I mean, I guess there's like marketing people at the end, the communications team at the NHS. I think. Anyway, I'll take the final part, and just let me be the one to say go, because I've got to take the be where the buck stops, if you know what I mean. Particularly if we're saying things like the.
This week, guys. Sorry.
Say again. This week. Sorry.
Yeah, because it's April.
No. I want it to go out. It needs to go out either today or tomorrow. But so
Yes,
yeah,
please.
if we can get that done, and hopefully Federico later tonight or tomorrow morning will say, yes, I've dealt with this. Have a final look, Sam, and then we can press the button. So I guess the only other thing is about there are people who've signed up for the newsletter on the MailChimp, no, on the non-profit site, right? We actually have people now signing up using our subscribe button here to this. And they are automatically going into the MailChimp list in here. So I guess since we're late, we maybe shouldn't worry about them, or it's either, did it end up being, Federico, last time complicated to do a second run of the newsletter to other people that we've missed the first time around, or what was the deal there?
No, it wasn't too bad. I mean, I extracted the emails from the production site, and created a little script, a Ruby script, and and then added them. It wasn't too hard. I mean, it wasn't like super simple, but
No,
it wasn't hard.
all there. But so basically, this is like you know, we should pull these guys into Elastic Mail. I guess the longer term thing is, can we get, like, if we're using Elastic Mail and that seems where we're going, rather than this having it add subscribers to a thing in MailChimp, it should do it in Elastic Mail. But I think I just want to mention that that's like I don't want that to get in the way of this getting out, and make sure it actually goes out in April. Okay, so we covered, so the newsletter we're covered then now, and we all take responsibility for making sure it goes out in April. Release newsletter. Let's move on to other things. So Federico, promoting Facebook likes.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this like last week, and then Tony or Free Ranger mentioned it. I think it was Tony in AV Community Talk, something about Facebook. And then this morning I thought about it. First of all, what I was thinking about last week is there a line or anything? We've talked about it before. Is there anything on the bot, the welcoming bot, the welcoming Sam bot?
Oh, okay.
That says, you know, please like us on Facebook,
Not
or a
at the moment.
link.
Not at the moment. No.
Yeah, because I know we talked about it, something like that, or yeah. But I don't think we. Go ahead, Marissa.
I was just gonna say, I don't think we ever got around to doing anything in that regard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it was all talk. And you know, it's just that it could be, it could sort of catch fire with likes. You know, right. if Laura, you know, pushes something out, you know, it gets seen on their feed, and then all they do is like it, and then their friends, their friends see it on their feed just because they liked it, and then maybe something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we're in this. What would be ideal is if, you know, in Slack, the welcome bot thing was just something that was built into Slack, and then, like, you know, anybody who's an admin in Slack could edit the message. As it is, we've got like a little Node app running in Amazon Web Services that, like, only I've got access to, creating a unpleasant bottleneck there. But if you want to craft something, some text that should be added, then in principle it can be done. I can't promise that it'll be done like very, 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 very soon. But yeah.
Well, I think you had some concern about, you know, adding too much. So I mean, so keep it simple. You know, please like us on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting that I mean, there is a concern about, like, you know, the longer that it is, the less likely is it to. But maybe what it currently is not being very effective. But what I did have this week is very interesting for us in general in terms of our strategy, is so relating to the Wikimedia EDU project, is that although the project has sort of met its goals in terms of, you know, they've paid us for project management, Pat's been doing the project management, they've got, like, you know, 10 pull requests from the Agile Ventures community, but it hasn't taken off in the way that they perhaps were hoping, or we were hoping, in that, you know, and this is, I think, it's true. It's been true of other projects in Agile Ventures, and it's very interesting to hear now from an outside client who's paid for additional to have, you know, make sure that there's really a project manager there. Is that a lot of people will get involved, they'll work on one story, they'll take up a lot of resources in terms of, like, needing help to get started up, but then they won't come back. There's a lot of sort of taking, and maybe a small contribution that probably would have been faster for that person who was giving the help to do by themselves. And, you know, do you know what I'm saying? So there's kind of, it's ended up not taking off in the way that they would have liked. And I think that's kind of, for our model of having, you know, kind of volunteers filter in from everywhere and be involved with clients on an ad hoc basis, it's kind of, there's sort of a flaw there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So that. Oh, go on. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Marissa.
I was going to say, in our community channel, there was someone who recommended just one-off pairing. So if there's people, and if we can find people who are just wanting just to start up a project or something, maybe we should just try and sort people who's going to be long term and short term, who just need someone who starts up, and maybe show that we could just do one-off pairing sessions and help them through that, and
Yeah.
for them to send, rather than them being long-term members, maybe promote that resource. If you want to do one-off pairing, and if they want to be just start off and then leave, then they should pay a reasonable payment, and then just do it that one-off and go, and maybe that might be a solution. No?
Yes, and I think that's sort of what the yes, and I think there's a lot there.
It's hard to filter who's going to stay and who's going to leave, who's going to stay long term and short term. But if we can promote that we offer short term solutions for helping start up projects, maybe that will filter.
Have you guys given more thought about the application process?
Well,
I mean,
that's more what I'm thinking about. Is it feels like the problem may be the ad hoc nature of it, so that if we had it was that you, in order to get involved in a project that had a real client, you'd need to apply to do so. And then rather than it being like someone just pop up in Slack and we say, hey, I'll get involved, or whatever, people might take the commitment a bit more seriously. If you know what I mean, like there might be a more rigid or more formal process for applying to start a project and applying to be involved in a project.
So what would we ask them? I mean, like, what would the application have, or would it be an interview, or
yeah,
what would it be?
Well, I think that's the kind of thing that we would want to maybe look at in the subject of a separate meeting. I think the ideas that we're mentioning there. So I think what we need is a future meeting focused on the kind of business direction.
So
hold on, Marufa. So one thing, so Marufa, you were talking about there's this like focusing more on short-term support, so that's like one-off pairings, and Federico, you're talking that we're talking about the application process, and it's apply to create projects or be involved in projects. And both of these potentially are, more payment for either getting support in a pairing session or with your project. And there's a lot of different aspects of this that we've explored in lots of different ways in the past, which I think are kind of relevant data points. And I guess what I'm thinking is maybe rather than having a bigger discussion about all of this now, maybe we can sort of put a pin in that, and we can have like maybe not even necessarily a marketing meeting, or we can maybe clear a space in a future marketing meeting where we kind of get into this. And well, there's two ways to get it. Either I present a lot of the different experiments that we've tried in the past relating to these different things, and we kind of brainstorm about how we might do things differently, or we could just like be coming up with ideas, and and I'd be trying to prompt you to sort of think about ways in which these were meeting our higher goals, assuming that we'd agreed on our higher goals, and so on. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I don't know personally which would be better. I mean, I think it would be helpful to look at, past attempts, what you guys have tried, but we're at a different point now, or so it'd be helpful to also, just starting fresh from now, looking into the future, what we can do.
Different ways to do it. I mean, yes, absolutely. The thing that I'm particularly thinking about, like my crazy idea, is that we might actually try and do kind of a design sprint for Agile Ventures.
Yes, I like this idea.
Where we kind of we see, and this is not necessarily written because people are busy, but maybe we try and find a time where a significant over the summer we've got this other intern starting, where we set aside a week. I don't know, maybe a day would be the thing in the first instance, but like some chunk of time longer than our usual meetings, and try and do a kind of like, okay, where do we want to get to, you know, and have this design sprint process where we try and come up with, out of the many different ideas in different directions, what's the thing that we can sort of test out and find out if we can make progress. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's a great idea. Plus, you have experience from right now with NHS that I'm sure will help.
Yeah. I mean, I've been reading the Google Design Sprint book, which I find to be quite. I mean, I don't know. It makes a lot of sense to me. But apparently, Slack used it, you know, in part of the design, and yeah, it's not a silver bullet, but yeah. Anyway, I think just because I know we could kind of get into sort of like a general discussion of those things. I'm thinking rather than doing that now, let's maybe create a space where the space is dedicated for exploring these different ideas, and do it there. I almost forget now why, as I brought up the Wiki EDU stuff, and I was telling you about, because I sort of had this draft report from Sage. Yeah, and that was because we were in the context of promoting Facebook Lives. Sorry, that's my brain jumping around. Where I was on was this idea of, oh, you know, we're going to change the welcome bot. At the moment, the welcome bot is kind of encouraging you to. The first thing to do is to try and get involved in a project. But actually, maybe the welcome bot actually should be reaching out first and saying, hey, you know, just do these few social media things for us. And then we have a follow-up thing that's like a week later saying, would you like to apply for being involved in a project? And there's, you know, the ordering could be completely changed based upon what we thought was going to be the most effective, you know, what people are going to respond to the best, and so on and so forth. So
right.
You know, designing all of that and choosing what the focus should be and so on. It almost feels like we need to do, you know, some design for it, even short. Even we make like a sort of a special half day where we meet for 3 hours and do something a bit more to kind of get some sort of focused direction that underpins all the different little decisions that we make about bots and newsletters and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good idea too. What you just mentioned, you know. Say, hey, you want to apply, do these 1, 2, 3 things, and apply. And also, it could earn karma, by the way.
Right.
Karma points.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Sure. Yeah. So that was then a big lots of things related to the Facebook likes thing. So it's great to mention that again. Yes, let's see if we can move towards creating the bigger strategy that fits that in a sensible fashion. And assuming that we're okay with that, unless anybody else wants to say more about the Facebook likes thing. I mean, it is like at some point, you know, if we're lucky or unlucky, depending on where you, it will just sort of explode and people will go, yeah. Well, anyway. But so the next one you've got is promoting React Mob, updating the pages.
Right. So it was just a discussion topic. Like, do we want to set a start date? Do we want to go ahead and start updating the pages?
Yeah. I think
who's gonna run it? Are you gonna run it?
Good question. I think we can certainly feel free to go ahead and update the pages to include like the link to the course that, you know, and you just put, you know, the pages to be updated, link to the course, you know, React Mob coming soon. You know, no harm to have that in there. I think, yeah, in terms of a little bit, it sort of depends on whether I have the Ruby Mob later today, which I need to fanfare, and we're getting to the point where the Ruby Mob could stop, and the people who are doing the Ruby Mob would say, well, let's do React Mob instead, and then that would be a, you know, potentially I could lead it. If the Ruby Mob wants to carry on, then I kind of got to decide. I certainly can't cope with any more than 2 mobs at the moment. So
really, so you don't want to do like some Scala, some Angular, some Ember?
I'd love to have them happening. I just can't take the lead on all.
No,
of them.
I mean, no, you.
Me. I'd love to. I can't do. I'm just at my utter limits. I'm going to have to work all this weekend really to make sure the NHS thing comes through. And maybe it's all going to. I mean, we do have some exciting kind of like green shoots in terms of, there was one completely new premium member who signed up who I didn't know. One other existing premium member upgraded. If we people ask me in AV community talk about, how many members would we need to get for it to be stable. I mean, if we get to a point where we doubled the number of premiums, particularly with the number of premium mobbers, for example, then potentially I can have almost all of my time devoted to running new mobs and just being mobbing. It would be great. But so I go on.
Well, no. Well, I was just gonna say, should we apply for a grant to get you hired on?
Well, that I've got my I've emailed some of the grants from the list that Marufa supplied previously, but my repeatedly emailing, I've been turned down by 2 of them already. My repeated emailing attempts are being a suffering in the face of kind of delivering on this NHS project. So I mean, I think that's sort of where we are. Is like, yes, let's get grants. Can we get more contracts from the NHS? I mean, in some ways, that sort of seems like the most promising. Like, if we can deliver on the NHS contract, then there may be a whole series of other contracts that, I don't know, will I just then be very, very stressed with NHS work continually? Or I don't know. I've got to get a lot better at delegating. But I would say that maybe, I would say certainly promote the React mob through whatever mechanism you have. I think it's difficult for, to make a decision about when the React mob will start. For example, right now, let's see what the people in the Ruby mob are saying today, would be my immediate response.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, and maybe an action item for the May newsletter, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. The React mob could go to the main newsletter. Yeah.
I mean, it was mentioned like a very brief line in the first one.
Sure.
I mean, it was already just just in passing mentioned, but yeah. But we could have like a full item on it, perhaps.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, well, I think particularly, and we want to be thanking Stephen Grider profusely and bigging him up because that's
right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so moving on, I mean, super awesome work for getting the podcast out. One of our premium members was saying, "Oh, is it only available on SoundCloud? Can I access it via my this, that, and the other?" I guess there's like a whole load of other distribution channels for podcasts that. Do you know anything about? I mean, I don't really. I know that they kind of exist. I don't know how to the
right
minutiae of them.
So the reason I went with SoundCloud was sort of the integration with the digital audio workstation that I have, and with Slack. You could play it right there, right on Slack.
Awesome. Yeah.
And so I was aware of how to do it with like iTunes, Stitcher, and couple other, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think it's too hard, but it's just a matter of investigating.
Right. Is it something that you're interested in investigating, or it's like? Yeah.
I mean, I put it as an item to bring up just in case you had something. Or...
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of one of those. I think it would clearly be it seems like it would be to our benefit to distribute this, and if you're happy to look into it, that's like fantastic. Look into other podcast channels, but also kind of in some ways maybe the higher priority will be then releasing episode 2.
Yes, and actually I don't know if we want to talk about it right now, but actually it does relate sort of what Ashley was talking about at the end, altering that to what you say, to basically help promote Agile Ventures, or like a little voiceover that you can do. I forgot what she said. That
I mean, there is. Well, I think if you, potentially, it's I mean, because there's always this. Go on, Marufa. Yeah.
So I was just gonna ask about the podcast. Where are you storing it at the moment?
On SoundCloud. It's a system called SoundCloud. Okay. So it's up in there's a website, you can download it. That's where it is.
Because I was just thinking maybe on the actual website we should let people know
Sure.
that podcast rather than just on Slack.
Yeah, no, and that's other. I mean, I that we've got the other podcast channels, which is so it's iTunes, AV site itself. So I think that's certainly something to consider. I mean, I think if I wasn't so busy with NHS thing, I'd be like trying to promote it in a lot more places. But I don't have any bandwidth. So, but like anybody can edit the AV sites pages, so we could have that linked to in the About Us page or wherever. It's just a question of people feeling motivated and inclined to do it.
Yeah, and also we could like write a tweet about it, a Facebook post. You could write a blog post about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If you don't want to, we can force you to.
Well, you can always write stuff and then have me. I mean, I think the thing particularly is like Lara's got this automated system that's pushing out stuff to Facebook mainly, and possibly Twitter, but mainly Facebook, I think. Like she'll presume when she's back next week, she'll have this. Okay, here's another round of stuff of comments by DHH and Martin Fowler to go out. So maybe one of the things that could maybe also elements from the newsletter, but including the podcast, could be going into that thing that Lara, churns whatever that Met system. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, absolutely. I think on that regards, the AV promotion, sure, in principle. I guess I'm not keen to consider the specifics of it right this second. If people want to come up with what wasn't voice, I think there's this line between just having this as our adventures and then the active promotion of we need your help and support, so on and so forth. I guess
You're not keen on direct selling if you're on podcast and you have to say it out loud, like come and upgrade or become a member.
I think we want to. I think that we want to build trust first, and less pushy initially, because this is experimental. I mean, the interesting thing is whether out of these two things is which to prioritize. Is it should we be trying to get all of these other channels set up, or actually maybe is getting the pipeline down so that we can. I mean, at the moment you're our pipeline, Federico, which is totally awesome, but we maybe don't want to have that whole thing resting on you. We might also want to talk about, do we want to have is it important to have a release schedule that it comes out weekly or monthly, or not? Go on, Marika.
I was just going to say, Federico, if you want to focus on the content and make the creating the podcast, I can look into other channels or podcast channels so we can divide the work.
Yeah, well, that would be helpful. I mean, I'm aware of a few other
because I
channels,
think creating the actual content is harder.
Yeah, this is at the moment. Yeah, Federico, you're the only person who can sort of do this. We're all kind of at sea. So, I mean, maybe part of it is you writing that up as, so that you're not the person who's under the gun to do that, so to speak. And yeah, I mean, I think we're all hoping that the subsequent ones, because of the different recording software, it's just not going to be as much work, right? Second time around.
Right. Hopefully.
Yeah.
And so I also set up the AV Develop. So SoundCloud AV Develop. So hopefully it's a little more transparent. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I think let's leave that there for the moment. We've already covered the newsletter. I mean, I personally can't. I haven't got any bandwidth to think about the questionnaire this week. So maybe let's just unless Federico, did you want to say something other than we should be editing it?
Well, I took a look at it, and I had some questions about let me see if I can share my screen real quick. Let's see. Can you guys see that?
I guess, Federico, what I'm I guess it's like you and Marufa could have a discussion about that. I'm wondering if I can afford to be involved in thinking about that at the moment. I guess maybe just hold on to that for a second, if you would. I just guess my stuff is sort of covered. We've already mentioned the podcast. this new intern should start next week. She sent me a email of a job description. She's planning to be working full time, so that's going to be exciting. The new premium member who signed up, who may even I actually asked them when they signed up about what they, how did they hear about us and why did they come in, and so actually maybe you can let me copy and paste this over here. So this was I asked how they heard about Agile Ventures and what inspired them to sign up. So this is the kind of thing, Marifa, you were keen to hear about, right?
Yes.
And they said that they heard about it while searching for open source contributions for newcomers. So I suspect that they came in through the ads. Initially joined in February, wanted to brush up on Rails skills, possible months I'm trying to work on pet projects, so it was a good time to join Premium and get some help working on Agile Ventures projects. So that was the feedback there. And then they're almost immediately asking about, what about Premium Mob membership? And they were asking, could they do a trial on it? And we don't have a trial, but people can trial Premium membership for free for 7 days. But Premium Mob gives them access to, a whole load of other stuff that I was like, well, let's not go there. That's a separate, I guess, marketing tells things about whether other plans should have trials to encourage people in. What I was immediately saying to him was maybe you could have a look at it. I had thought, and we identified there was one video of one mob that will be a good one, just share with people. I seem to remember in a previous marketing meeting with Michael discussing that and him even working on a ticket to get that up or something. Does that ring any bells?
Yeah. I forgot whether it was the first. Actually, you know what it was? It was the first Elixir mob that you asked permission from. I wasn't there.
Right.
From whoever attended, and they gave you permission to share it on the Elixir channel, at least.
Okay.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that then unblocks me here. At least to say to this guy, I'll send him the first Elixir one as an example of the kind of thing that we do, and so. I can carry on the discussion with him. Another one is one other long-term premium member who's talking about possible upgrading and saying how he'd love to have an upcase discount. I guess I might reach out to them for that. And then that's my, that's my. So sorry for having stopped you there, Federico. I guess
that's
I
fine.
can really do that in the background there. Do you want to? I think then the other. We can come back to that point that you were on there, you sharing your screen. Did you want to ask Marifa about some of the questions and different things in the thing?
Yeah, just quickly. I was kind of wanting your input as well because, so I really like how you have this set up, the very poor, fair, good, very good. I'm just not so sure about these questions relating to the Scrum. How did you rate your knowledge of the subject before the Scrum? How do you rate your knowledge of the subject after the Scrum? I guess I'm wondering what you're going for there with the questions about the Scrum.
I think it was more to do with if a software developer came in trying to get access to a certain knowledge, I don't know what this technical term would be on a certain software or something, and what was the level of that knowledge, and when they left after that and during the project, how much did they gain? And I didn't know what the right term was, so I just used the word subject. Maybe I'm just rewriting the questions completely wrong.
It sounds good. It sounds like from the kind of question for a course, if you've come and it's the kind of question we might ask somebody about before and after they're doing the mob session. I think the funny thing about the Scrum is that the 15-minute Scrum is more sort of a coordination event. So we wouldn't necessarily expect someone's knowledge of the subject matter of, let's say, testing or Ruby or Elixir to change very much over the course of the Scrum. It might be that they bring up a problem at the Scrum and, that they have the, a solution provided in the Scrum. But I think their overall kind of knowledge is perhaps unlikely to change. Does that make sense to you, Federico, what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I was just wondering if maybe Marifa had a sort of a misconception about the Scrums, because she also has, what improvements would you make to the Scrum? What was the most useful aspect of the Scrum? I mean, this could work, but I mean, it depends on what you're trying to get at, which I wasn't clear about.
And what was your motivation for I guess is what you're asking, Federico, isn't it?
Right, right. So you kind of already answered that. So maybe we could.
Well, and I kind of answer on Marufa's behalf. I mean, Marufa, did you want to say more about what your? Oh, maybe I just missed it. You were saying about your motivation for wanting this kind of question.
You know, I think you kind of answered it, which I think it was more about the premium, the sessions rather than the scrums then, and maybe I just got the words confused.
No worries, because like this is you're not supposed to be a specialist in knowing about these words. That's our thing. So yeah.
So I guess we could modify that, because I mean, sort of the structure that you've done here is excellent, you know. And if we could just modify or add a few more, and
Please do when you get time.
Okay, I'll try to do that then too. And that's what I was one of my discussions.
This week even, whenever.
Okay. Yeah, so I added that to one of my discussion topics, edit the survey, so I can help do that too. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I had. If Sam or Marufa, anything else?
I think we've kind of covered my things. I mean, it's like links to like the larger discussion about how we, you know, like bundle more discounts for, you know, to encourage more people to sign up for premium and premium mob, or you know, like all of the minutiae of those. But I think probably I've convinced myself all of that should be rolled into, you know, doing kind of like a coherent design sprint of some half day, full day, week, whatever it is, where we kind of work out, you know, what are the, you know, get agreement on what our direction and goals, and then you know, kind of work out the key changes that we're going to trial and see if they help us achieve those goals.
And, you know, I absolutely agree that we should push for that.
Cool.
Schedule it now. This 1st
Yes.
of May. No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I'm lucky, by May the 18th or so, the NHS thing will be kind of calmed down and done, and I won't be in this kind of like state. So, fingers crossed for that. Marufa, anything else on your mind, or any other thoughts or things we need to address now?
On the 18th of May, I actually won't be here. Sorry, I won't be just away. And I've started at this job that I'm doing. They offered me a full-time position, so I will continue working part-time for a little bit longer, if that's okay.
Cool. Great stuff. Yes. But and I was saying sometime after the 18th of May, not on the 18th of May, but yeah. So when does your full-time position start?
I'm working now.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
So this job that I
Go on.
the 2 weeks one, they offered me to do an interview, which I did yesterday, and then I got the job. So I'll be working here full time until I get a marketing position. So hopefully I can stay in AgriVentures for a little bit longer, gain more knowledge, and then
Yeah, totally. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep. All right. Yeah. So hopefully I'll be introducing the new an extra intern next week, and yeah, Monday's a bank holiday in the UK, public holiday in the UK. So I guess no marketing meeting on Monday, but we'll catch up next Thursday.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, guys. Well, that's the marketing meeting round up. Federico, is there anything quickly that you need me to do to unblock you on the champion of stuff? I guess I'll just stop the broadcast there.